How y'all are this afternoon? This is your buddy George Jones over at the Bergen Gun Range with my next installment on, hey, I got this old used gun. Say, listen, I got this old used gun. This gun is the Stevens Model 55 bolt action target rifle. Now, I couldn't find a whole lot on the internet or any place to research this thing, and I looked in my 1947 gun shop catalog from Louisville and found this gun in this configuration. And this is the Stevens Model 55 target. It is a magazine fed, it holds 5, and I think it's been converted to target because they've taken and filled up the rear sight dovetail with this wedge right there, which appears to be factory installed. And then they put in a set of PEEP rear sights in the back, which are, you know, nicely adjustable, and it's obvious that it's got a target PEEP pan aperture in it. It's got a changeable front sight on it, and the sight ramp has a dovetail on it to accept a hood. I think it probably had a hood originally. But it is a straightforward Stevens 22 bolt action magazine fed rifle. And it looks like the same magazine on the later Stevenses as well. So we're going to load this guy up here and talk about it. All I know for sure is that this gun was available in a gun warehouse catalog in 1947. Now, I think that it was probably a World War II training rifle, and then they just sold them commercially after the war. But there's no U.S. property markings on it or anything like that. Of course, they had a lot of guns in their training inventory in World War II domestically that weren't marked, you know, U.S. government property. They converted a lot of guns to training purposes that were originally manufactured for sporting purpose, and then simply either sold them off or returned them to the contracted lender, you know, like Stevens. Stevens manufactured a lot of guns in World War II. I mean, they were manufacturing everything from parts and whole guns for 50 caliber Brownings. They manufactured a lot of Thompson stuff, Savage, which is also Stevens. You know, Stevens is the cheap line of Savage. Manufactured Thompson submachine guns, you know, 30 caliber Browning machine guns and aircraft variants and stock gun parts and parts for other guns that they weren't manufacturing, just all kinds of stuff. Produced 1911 barrels by the barrel full, you know. So, was it a World War II training rifle? Very possibly, yes. Now, Apache got this gun, and I don't know if you can see it on camera or not, with a serial number stamped into the stock right here, and received 5 other guns with the same exact serial number on it. And I don't know what the deal was there, and don't know how they come to us, just to tell you the truth. I just found them back there in the warehouse one day. I was down there rooting through one of the buildings, and, you know, and found them, and found this gun. And I'm like, you know, that'd make a good gun to take out and do a video with. So with all of that having been said, I'm going to load this guy up right here, and we're going to shoot it at some small steel targets down there at range and see how it actually works. Apparently it doesn't work very well. Let's see here now. What are we doing? All right, that one didn't go. Let's try this one. Appears that one in battery. All right, we don't need no ear mufflers. Let's see if I can peck off a steel chicken down there at 25 yards. Get up there on that. Like Captain Lanham used to say, crawl all the way up in that rear sight. Oh, that was a hit too on a little bitty steel chicken. All right. Let's see if we can do it again. Oh. This is squirrel killer right here. Yeah, that's a great little rifle. All right, there's a little lollipop on the top of that target rack. I'm gonna see if I can hit it. Yeah. All right, got one more. This is a little tack driver here. You just yeah. That's a neat little gun. Let's say this gun was new in 1947, which I don't think it was. I think it was probably new sometime in World War II. Let's say 45. 55, 65, 75, 85, 95, 2005, 2015. That would make it somewhere around 74 years old. Goes back to what I always say, you take care of a gun, you'll have it forever. Let's put us about 4 more in this thing, see how it shoots. Using the old precision ammunition from the Philippines. That magazine takes 5, but it don't want to feed that top one out of it. Okay. We might help it. Might help it a little bit. Take that up in there. Okay. Let's go on that guy and get it started. There we go, and in it goes. There we go. Let's help it a little bit. No sense in shooting at a bigger target. If you can shoot one that's 1 3/4 wide at 25 yards, ain't no sense in shooting at a big one. He's just amazing little back driver. So I don't know if this gun was a ROTC gun. It probably was. You know, ROTC was really big in World War II because people were in ROTC. They didn't know how long the war thing was going to go on. If they went into the Army as a second lieutenant, you know, they'd have a lot better chance of surviving the war. Yeah, right. I might have to have this gun for myself, huh? No, Lord, no, I got a house full of them now. Just a little cute little gun. Now the peeps have a lot to do with that. The peeps have a lot to do with the accuracy of it. So it's like if I was shooting a buckhorn sight that mounted out there on the front of the barrel, it might not give the same accuracy on the same gun, you know. Oh, this is a really good little gun. This is a really great little gun. I don't know what the value of this gun is. I would say that the value of this gun is probably somewhere in the $250 range. It's not a high-end Anschutz or Savage or something like that vintage target rifle, but it is, in fact, you know, a target rifle. When you look down these sights, there's no difference between looking down these sights and looking down an $1,800 Anschutz 1813. Okay, so, you know, and I'm hitting a 1 3/4 inch wide steel chicken on an airgun target at 25 yards every time. So this is a really good performing rifle. It probably performs better than its actual value. But I figure this gun, as it is configured, is probably worth, you know, I know guys that collect vintage target rifles and they put pretty high value on this style of gun. But, you know, if you've got one of these guys, you probably got a nice little piece of change. Hard to find. You don't find these guys every day. This is just a wonderful little gun. It's Savage Model 55 in target configuration. Like, take, share, pie, commentate, and subscribe. Slip me an old dollar in the Patreon bucket on the way out the door if you're taking notion too, and if you don't, I'll keep going out here and finding cool old guns to shoot for you. All right then, we'll see you folks.